Well, folks, I hate to say it, but it is bagel time. Roger Federer got handed his first ever bagel today at Wimbledon by Hubert Hurkacz, kind of like the nicest guy on tour.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks guys for the support.
Won Miami out of nowhere and then comes in now is in the semifinals of Wimbledon after a 6-match losing streak. Came out and played amazing tennis today after beating Medvedev to beat the legend Roger Federer on center court of Wimbledon. Will this be the last time we ever see Roger Federer on this court? We don't know. He doesn't know after his press conference, but we're going to get into it right now, what this means, and we're going to take a look at the other quarterfinal matchups and the semifinal preview. We got Djokovic versus Shapovalov, and we got Berrettini versus Hubert Hurkacz, the Bagel Master. So we're going to get into these matchups, what it means, and look at the rest of Wimbledon 2021 presented by Rally Tennis here on The Slice. It's going to be crazy. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to get into it. Thanks for being here. Yes, folks, subscribe, like, and watch till the end for my prediction on what is going to happen to Djokovic. Is he going to get through? Is he going to win this title? Wait till the end to watch what I have to say there. And also, if you're going to make fun of me because I predicted Federer-Djokovic final, you can go on the website and buy a bagel mug. We've sold one of these already today because of the bagel, I'm assuming. And you can fill it up and just toast to me every time you think of Djokovic winning slams endlessly from now on. So that would be great. Yes, we didn't get the final that I think a lot of us wanted. I said it was the most probable final, which was just a fact. That wasn't me really predicting that it was going to happen. That's just saying what the odds said. So that was just the most probable final. But what is also probable is you'll become a better tennis player if you download the Rally Tennis app on your phone, where you can meet practice partners like we've talked about for the last 2 tournaments. It's the Rally app. It's taken over the United States. You can sign up for your free account on Rally, and then you can meet other players, join leagues, and participate in playoffs where you can assert your dominance on the local tennis scene. There's also a million other perks to it, like just meeting other tennis people, as well as their affiliations with Tennis Warehouse, getting access to gear and stuff like that. Thank you to Rally Tennis for being the presenting sponsors of The Slice during this coverage, during the tournament, during Wimbledon. Helps us bring this coverage to you as much as we can, which I hope you've loved through the tournament. I've loved it through the tournament. It's been amazing for a Fed fan like me to see our guy back in action on the grass. Played 4 awesome matches today. Didn't have it in the guts to beat Hurkacz, who was playing amazing. So yeah, Hurkacz gives out the bagel to Federer, and it makes sense in a way. Today was a windier day, and that obviously has never helped Federer, but when he was already a little bit, as he said, he couldn't move the way he wants to move, and he's hesitating slightly with these smaller movements, like getting all the way down to shots. When there's wind involved, you have to do the little adjustments, and if he doesn't feel like he's able to even get there in the first place, doing those little adjustments become harder. So the match was tough. He was up a break in the second set, Federer was. But Hurkacz played super well all match, hitting big from the baseline, serving massively, and the wind seemed to affect him less, which makes sense just because he's a taller, longer guy, and he had bigger weight of shot, just probably in general, but definitely today. So Hurkacz was able to return Federer's serve super well. Federer wasn't able to get enough free points on the serve. That's partly him, partly Hurkacz. And then in the biggest moment at 2-2 in the tiebreaker, Fed does the slip, very reminiscent of 2016, which started this whole fiasco with the injuries, but also kind of spurred him on to the epic comeback we saw in 2017. So yeah, huge congrats to Hubert Hurkacz. Definitely deserved to win this match. He was the better player, and he came and took this from Fed. So yeah, that's big. Fed said after the press conference, he said he doesn't know. He's got to talk to his team. He kind of always does that. He's not the type of guy to make a rash decision. I feel like this is not the last we've seen of him at Wimbledon, though. I do feel like he'll come back with his whole family there and like a proper Wimbledon with like not the bubble, and he'll probably but I don't know if he'll announce it before coming back. Whatever. But I'm just happy that Fed's back on tour playing good tennis, but not good enough to beat Hurkacz, who's into his first semifinal, which is an amazing story for him and all the Polish fans. Shout out to Poland. Leave a comment if you are from Poland watching this. Denis Shapovalov from my home country, Canadian, wins an epic versus Khachanov. I tweeted before the match where I said, I think Shapovalov might destroy Khachanov. And while I stand behind that, he obviously didn't destroy him because Khachanov played very well. So did Shapovalov, though. But Shapovalov got down 2-1. But then he was able to come back, figure it out. In the press conference, he said he started to play a little bit more aggressive, take away time from Khachanov, it was just a matter of the classic, who can implant their game more. And Khachanov was able to do that. And that's If Khachanov could have done that, that's the one thing that could have taken Shapovalov off the streak that he was on, where he's playing amazing, destroying Murray and RBA. But Khachanov's power could offset him, and it did. But then Shapovalov, which we haven't seen from him in his career, was able to turn that around. And some really interesting stats. Shapovalov had 18 aces, 10 double faults. But 18 aces is good. 59 winners, 48 unforced errors. Just big tennis. Returned super well, though. Khachanov on his first serve, when he got the first serve in, he only won 67% of those points, where Khachanov's a massive server. So that's a very low percentage for someone of that serving quality. So that means Shapovalov was returning super well, which is a huge improvement in his game from other years. So that's going to help him well in his next match. And I love Shapovalov's mentality going to the next match, which we'll talk about in a second here. But Berrettini was too much for Felix Auger-Aliassime, another Canadian who had to bow out, but Berrettini looked pretty good, but not as dominant. I thought it could have been more solid, but it makes sense because Felix is playing great, and he's long, and he can get a lot of returns back in play where other players might not have been able to. And Djokovic beats Fucsovics easy while playing bad for him. Djokovic fans are going to be like, oh, you're always criticizing him. No, Djokovic did not play a good match today in Djokovic terms because it was windy out there, so he was unable to do everything that he likes. Got thrown off a little bit by that. Who wouldn't? But if you just look at 30 unforced errors to 23 winners, 23 winners makes sense with the windy day. He didn't need much, though, to beat Fucsovics. Fucsovics was just kind of beat himself in the moment. Wasn't great. That's just winning ugly, as Brad Gilbert would say, and Djokovic got it done. But is he going to have to pick it up in the semifinal? I would hope so. I hope that we're going to have an epic match here. But Djokovic really has not looked his best in the last two matches. If you go back to Garin and then Fucsovics, just hasn't had his best stuff, hasn't had his cleanest matches for whatever reason. But I think he's going to want to pick it up a bit, and he's going to want to serve better for sure against Shapo, because Shapovalov, like we saw against Khachanov, has been returning well. So can he do it? A lot of the strategies and stuff, though, is kind of secondary to the mentality of this. What we see so often now is Djokovic, with all his legendary wins, his Grand Slams, his expertise, his just experience in the big moments. You see him go against these young players in the Grand Slams now, and they just don't have it there. They don't have the mental reserve to go to. But Shapovalov in the press conference after his match today was talking that talk. He said, he's like, I got belief I can win. He said, when I walk out there on Friday, the score is 0-0. And he's like, and it's a tennis match. Our last closest matches have been super close, which is true. 7-6, 7-6 was their last one at the ATP Cup. And Djokovic gave him the respect too, as he always does. And he said, his serve's hard to deal with. He's hard to play with when he's just swinging for the fences. So that's what Shapovalov has to do if he's going to want to win. He's got to just play his game, not overthink shots. He has to not take into account what Djokovic is going to do after he hits a shot. He's just got to hit to big targets, hit with aggression, and play his game. And I think he's got a serious chance. Obviously, Djokovic is a massive favorite. I think he's like the 1.25 betting odds favorite to win the whole tournament, which is crazy. But Shapovalov is a danger match. Usually these danger matches would happen in like the fourth round. But it's a new era, I guess, now. And now this is the semifinals with the young guys getting there. Shapovalov, we got Berrettini and Hurkacz on the bottom. That's an interesting matchup because Berrettini plays huge, and he's one of the favorites. I actually put a bit of money on him to win the whole tournament beforehand. Amazing odds. And now he's one of the favorites to win. He's the second favorite. But Hurkacz is long, and the way he played against Federer today makes me think that he's going to be able to handle Berrettini's serve, and that once they get into rallies, I honestly think Hurkacz is going to have the advantage because Berrettini does not have as good of a backhand as Hurkacz, but he slices it super well. But what Berrettini can't do is get moved around where he gives easy backhands up the line to Hurkacz, because Hurkacz is stepping in right now, taking that backhand up the line, and then that's going into Berrettini's forehand, which is good because Berrettini defends well from there right now. But I just think from what I've seen so far in these last two matches, I honestly like Hubie in this matchup. I think I'm taking Hubie just on my own. This is not betting advice, but just my own inkling. I think that Hubert Hurkacz has the more well-rounded game right now. He's got massive serving, as big as Berrettini's almost, and he's coming to net lots, which means he's super comfortable on the surface, and he just looks super comfortable playing this fast grass court tennis. But then again, Berrettini has won like 2 titles on grass, or 1 title on grass. He won Queens, whatever, and he's just playing super amazing. So I don't know. It's going to be a tight one, but I'm leaning slightly Hurkacz. I'm leaning big-time Djokovic, but I'm cheering for big-time Shapovalov. And you're going to be like, oh, it's because of Federer. It's because I love Shapovalov. He's Canadian, and I just think it's a big match for him, and obviously it's a huge match for Djokovic. So now, Obviously, my prediction is Djokovic beats Shapo, and then he beats whoever is in the final because they're just too young, too inexperienced, whatever, to win. Djokovic goes on to win number 20, which is epic for him, which is epic for his fan base, the Nole fan base, who I'm sure is purchasing a Bagel Time mug right now because you guys have withstood being in the shadow. Like that ridiculous question that the journalist asked Djokovic today, how does it feel being the bad guy for all this time? It's like, this is why the slice exists, because I want to get in those press conferences and ask better questions, which I do if you've seen them before when I have talked to Djokovic and Federer and guys like this. Djokovic has had to withstand so much, opposition from the Fidel fans. It's a big rivalry. That's why we're all here, for the fans, by the fans, for the fans. Djokovic and his fans have had to go through so much, to now be on level playing field with majors would be massive for him. But the pressure's on Djokovic to get 20 slams. Now he's the overwhelming favorite. He's like, it's not like he's playing even like a Tsitsipas in the final. It's like a Berrettini or Hurkacz after beating Shapovalov. So that's a lot of pressure for him. I think he's going to raise to the occasion and get it done. I do. I believe in him. I believe in his game. It's the best in the world right now, obviously. And on grass, he's won 5 Wimbledon. So you could say he's arguably also the king of Wimbledon, even though Federer clearly still is. So the only problem I have is that, unfortunately, some of the weak era theorists who've been plaguing Federer for all these years, having this ridiculous notion that he won in a weak era because he played guys like Philippoussis in the final who took out Agassi on the way there, etc. All these guys who are it's just a different era. But now they're going to come back and call this a weak era win because he's playing Denis Shapovalov and then maybe Hurkacz or Berrettini in the final to win a Grand Slam. Now, I am consistent. I don't think a weak era was ever a thing. That's an idiotic thing to say. But, the people that are the weak era theorists say they're unbiased and that they are consistent. So they're obviously going to call this a weak era thing as well, which will be annoying. So I hope everyone just accepts Djokovic's victory if he does get it done and praises him for it as he deserves, because winning a Grand Slam is tough no matter what. And I will see you guys in the comment section below to discuss all the things we just talked about, all the matchups. Who's going to win? Is Djokovic, is it locked for him, or is there going to be a big upset? Let me know down in the comment section below. This has been The Slice presented by Rally Tennis, our folks at Rally Tennis. You can also get brand new tennis gear, new rackets, new strings, new shoes for 10% off just by going to our Courtside Sports sponsors website and using our link. All that information is below. Thanks for supporting the show. We will see you when the final matchup's set, and then we'll do a more comprehensive breakdown of that matchup, whatever it may be. And we'll see you in the comment section below, guys. Thanks.